Hey, Mr. James from Charm City Karate. Hey, Mr. James from Charm City Karate. This week, I want to talk to you guys about saying no. Here's the thing. It's okay to say no. It's okay to hurt people's feelings if it's going to keep you safe. What's Mr. James talking about? All right. So, I teach various self-defense classes around town. Some of them are of the less physical nature, okay? Which makes sense. You guys have heard me talk before about how I believe that hitting people is not really self-defense, okay? Hitting people is fighting. I enjoy that part of the martial arts, but that's not the self-defense part. The self-defense part really is the awareness skills, the verbal boundary setting, okay? It's the stuff that keeps you from having to hit people. So most of the time when I teach a self-defense class outside of the studio, I try to focus more on that. Plus, you know, if you have, say, an hour to teach a self-defense class, you can't really teach people how to hit somebody effectively in an hour. Not at one go. You know, if you have like 6 weeks, hour class, maybe. But in an hour, you can effectively impart some awareness skills, some boundary setting, some concepts that they can use. So, there I am, I'm teaching this awareness class, this self-defense class. Pretty sure they're getting the awareness part of it. They get the idea of paying attention when their body's telling them, this is bad, or this person is dangerous, stay away. Pretty sure. So, we move on to the part where you're dealing with a stranger and you're telling them, no, go away. And this girl says, but he might be nice. He might be nice. Okay. He might be nice. Except, your body's telling you he's bad. All right. I say to her, listen, how old are you? She says, 14. I said, okay, cool. I'm 40. What if I came up to you and said, you want to get a drink? What would you say? She said, no, I said, stop. No. No is a complete sentence. You're done at no. See, because when you say no, it's over. The conversation's done. When you continue past no, you give the bad guy something to work with, okay? No. No, I gotta meet my boyfriend. Really? I'll hang out and meet him with you. Now you're stuck. No, not tonight. Cool, when is a good night? See? No, I was going to the store. Oh, I'll go with you. See? No, I'm going to meet my girlfriend. Great, I have a buddy. I'll get him and I'll meet you. All right, you see the problem? So, no, it's a complete sentence. You're done. All right. Now, the problem I find that a lot of women have, and I guess some guys, but I don't see it as much with guys, is that they feel bad for hurting the other person's feelings. A guy says, hey, let's go out. They say no, and then they come up with this other stuff so that they don't hurt his feelings. It's okay to hurt his feelings when you say no, because you feel threatened in this situation. See, now, the whole reason in this self-defense class that I'm telling you that no is a complete sentence is because your spidey sense went off. Your warning signals told you this guy is bad. That's why you're telling him no. You're not saying, no to this guy because he's not your type. You're not saying no to him because you really do just have to meet your friend, but you think he's kind of cute. You're saying no because when he came up to you, you went, ah. Okay? You got scared. There's something wrong with this guy. Okay? He's got a roll of duct tape in his hand. He's got a van with no windows. All right? Whatever it is, there's something about this guy that sets off your emergency warning system. You listen to your emergency warning system. So when he says, let's go back to my house, and you say, and you tell him in no uncertain terms, no. You don't say, well, I don't know, I get it. No. All right. So I think part of the thing that's to blame here is that, most of the time, women are brought up to be the nurturers in society. But I think a lot of it, too, is this whole PC universe. Oh, you gotta be politically correct. You can't hurt people's feelings. All right, well, that's crap. Because if this guy's a douchebag rapist, you can hurt his feelings. If this guy was going to duct tape you and throw you in the back of his van, you can hurt his feelings. If you said no and he keeps coming, it's okay to hurt his feelings because he didn't care about you. So why should you care about him? All right? If he's a normal guy, if I went up to somebody and I said, hey, you want to go get a drink? And they went, no. I'd be like, oh, all right. Okay? You see, I'm not pushing. I'm not going, yeah, come on, let's go get a drink. Yeah, no, I want to get a drink. No, we're going to go get a drink. Come on! See, I'm not doing that. I'm a normal person. Or if you got freaked out and you went, no, I don't want to get a drink with you. I'd be like, oh, all right, sorry. Never mind. And then you could go, ooh, I didn't mean that. I thought you were creepy. Okay, and we could go on from there if we had to. But kooky guy with the butcher knife back at his house waiting for you, or the plastic under his couch and the chainsaw and the Huey Lewis on the News videos playing, okay? It's okay to tell him no and be mean. It's all right, okay? 40-year-old guy, like that scenario I was giving to that girl, asking a 14-year-old girl out should set off all her alarms. She should tell him no, and she should be like, no. And when he gets all, well, why not? She should be like, 'cause you're creepy, you're 40, and no. Or she could just look at him and go, no, because no is a whole sentence, right? You use no. It's a self-defense situation. Think of it like a verbal block. No. Okay? If somebody's trying to punch you in the face, you wouldn't feel bad that you'd hurt their arm when you blocked, would you? I wouldn't. It's the same kind of thing. All right? I wouldn't feel bad because I hurt their feelings. I wouldn't feel bad because I hurt their arm when I blocked because they were trying to punch me. I was not trying to punch them. You see? And a normal person probably wouldn't have tried to punch me. A normal person wouldn't have kept trying after I said no. So, if you have sons, daughters, loved ones, nieces, cousins, nephews, make sure they understand this. It is okay to say no and hurt somebody's feelings in a self-defense situation. When their little boogaboo alarm clock goes off, when they feel that nasty feeling, it is okay. They are not to obey normal social mores and all those rules of etiquette when they get those feelings. All right? I'll give you another example. On a few occasions, I've been thrust into social situations where I've been introduced to somebody that gives me a really bad feeling. And they've come up and they've stuck out their hand and been like, how you doing? Now, Guy 101 says you shake his hand. I ain't doing it. Not gonna do it. All right. Now, depending on the social situation, one time I just stared at the guy. Eventually he put his hand down, he walked away. I didn't care. Wasn't doing it. One time I said, no thank you. Another time I said, I don't shake hands. Okay? I was never as smooth as Doc Holliday in, it was Deadwood, I think. No, not Deadwood. I don't know, cowboy movie, where he looks at the guy and he says, you'll forgive me if I don't shake hands. All right? It was not that smooth. But it's not the end of the world if you don't shake hands with somebody. They giving you that bugaboo alarm, you don't shake hands. All right? It avoids the whole situation. What if his deal was to grab your hand and pull you into a sucker punch? Grab your hand, stick a knife in your ribs. Grab your hand and drag you into another room. I had a guy try that once too. I didn't think that was very funny. Last time I ever shook hands with somebody I didn't like. So, it is okay to say no in a self-defense situation. Your alarm goes off? No. It's okay to be rude in a self-defense situation. It's okay to hurt their feelings. It's not about them anymore. You're protecting yourself. You can always apologize later. If somebody freaks out and they, it turns out that they weren't a bad person or the situation wasn't what you thought, you can say, listen, I'm really sorry. This is what I thought was going on. This is why I acted like that. I apologize. If they're a normal person, they'll go, oh, I totally understand. And they'll accept your apology. If they're not a normal person, you can go back to that part where you don't care. Because they should understand. All right. Thus endeth the rant. But remember, teach your students and your loved ones, it is okay to say no and hurt feelings in a self-defense situation. I'm Mr. James from Charm City Karate. Train hard, live well. I'll see you next time.